Hey everyone, welcome to sheet 3, the grill grate. So we're going to go ahead and draw this right now, but before we get started, I wanted you to just look over here on the left hand side of my screen. I know you can't see my mouse still. Just look at my feature tree here. So there's a number of ways that you might figure out how to draw this if you don't just go ahead and follow my video, but I always try to be as simplistic as possible when I'm going through and doing a CAD model. Just if somebody comes back in later and you have 30 individual um, features, that kind of thing, it might take a little bit longer to go through and figure out exactly what everything is and how they organize their part here. But so with this, drew all of this with 3 sketches and 3 features. So always think about simplicity and what's the most efficient way you can build your model when you're going through and doing something like this. Okay, so I already have a part open. You won't. You'll have that nice splash screen right at the beginning when you open up SolidWorks. But if for whatever reason you've clicked out of it or you have a part open, you can just come in here and click File, New, and it brings up that splash screen. We're going to go into a part file. And I know you can't see my mouse. Um, Down here in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, let's change this to millimeters because this part is in millimeters. So up until this point, we have used the sketch tool a number of times, but if we drop down, we see we have a second tool, the 3D sketch tool, and we haven't used this before. So what the 3D sketch tool is, well, let's go into a normal sketch. On the front plane, I'll go ahead and draw a circle. So we know, because of what we've done before, is we'll open up a sketch on the front plane, and then you basically just treat it like AutoCAD, and you can just extrude it out to these other planes later on. So that's how the normal sketch tool works. You can only draw on one plane at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and discard this sketch. And when I draw on the 3D sketch tool, I like to give it a Control 7, or alternatively you can spacebar and select an isometric view. But come up here to the sketch toolbar in your ribbon, drop down and select 3D sketch. Now I'm going to grab my line tool, and utilizing these dimensions from the sheet under the Lab 9 content section of the portal, we are going to go ahead and sketch our profile. So starting at the point here, at the origin, we are going to drag it at an angle, 0-degree angle, as you can see on my pencil there, it says the XY plane. We're going to stay on the XY plane right now, the front plane, and just click. Now staying in the XY plane, we are going to draw a line down at 90 degrees, and again at 0 degrees, kind of roughly the same distance. Now, you'll see when I snap at this angle here, this 45-degree angle, there are the 2 yellow lines, the 2 yellow axes, and then there's the blue axes. The yellow is signifying the plane. The blue is just a snap within that plane. So if I click here, look what happens. That's not actually drawing back along the right plane. That's still on the front plane, just at a 45-degree angle. So let's go back to my Control 7. I'll delete that line, and then grab my line tool again. So when I click Tab, look what happens. It goes from XY to Z, or to YZ, I'm sorry. In the YZ plane, draw a line at 90 degrees, and then click Tab 2 more times, past the ZX, and you're going to go XY, and then you're just going to finish the profile on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my planes off. Now when I come down like this, and give it a rotate, we can see that we have now drawn on both the front plane and the right plane. And really, the top plane as well. So There it is. So now that we have that, let's utilize that sheet Lab 9 content section, the dimension sheet, and we'll just go ahead and throw some smart dimensions on all these lines. So it's going to be 135, 15, 15, 240. And remember, we're making these are millimeters. If you do this in inches, it's going to be gigantic. And then we're going to go 15 again, 15, and last but not least, 135. And you'll notice before I put this 135 on, we have a blue point here. So we know that that sketch is not fully defined. It's easy to miss, but if you don't put that other dimension on, or at least make these equal, you won't have a fully defined sketch. And that is just as important in 3D sketches, if not more important than it is in normal sketches. So now that we have this, last thing to do here is, if we look at this drawing, we see that we have fillets here, radius of 5. So I'm going to go ahead and grab up in the sketch toolbar up here in the ribbon, under sketch fillet, let's click that, and change this 10 to a 5, otherwise it won't work. That's fine. Yeah, and then go ahead and click these 6 corners and make sure that radius, remember, is 5. And click the green check mark to exit the sketch. Now, so this is going to be a path that we use. And remember from last week, we can use the swept boss base, but we need a path and a profile. So to create that profile, if we look, I started this at the origin. So if we just sketch on the right plane, I can go ahead and put a path right there that coincides with that point. So right plane, sketch, and grab the circle tool and sketch it right there on the origin. And if we look at our document, our dimension document, we'll see that this has a diameter of 5. Now, under the Features tab, grab your Swept Boss base. It may already highlight the path or the profile, and then we're just going to go ahead and click the path, and OK. And now we see we have a really nice start to our grill grate here. Now, the next thing I see in this drawing is it has these grates. So in order to do that, I am actually going to use, if we look here, the front plane. Let's get a good view on that. Oops. The front plane intersects this directly right in the middle, because we started on the origin, so it's making everything nice and easy. So let's just open up a sketch on the front plane there. Control 1. Alternatively, you can click the space bar and then grab the front view from the orientation menu. So we have a sketch open on the front plane, and looking at our document right here. So if this is the midpoint, the first one of these 4mm diameter circles is going to be 11mm from the center, and then these additional 5 are going to be 22mm from the center. So to do that, I'm going to grab my sketch tool, and for the first one only, grab your 4 construction, and let's just dimension that out to 11. So now we have a nice spot to start our linear sketch pattern, and we'll go ahead and draw our 4mm diameter circle. Now, as we've seen before, select that circle and grab your linear sketch pattern tool, and this distance is going to be 22, and go ahead and click, 5 extra, so 6, because you include the one that you start with, you include your original profile. Go ahead and click OK. And you'll notice that these in this array are blue. And to fully define that, you can actually go from the origin, take a dimension to this first one, click the check mark, and now we're fully defined. And next step is, now that we have our profile here, we can just go ahead and extrude that, and we're going to extrude up to the surface. We don't know I guess we do technically know the exact distance, but what you can do is up to surface, and go ahead and select that other surface over there. Alternatively, I mean, you could do 240. I don't know what I was thinking there. You can go 240, and that goes right into the middle as well. So you can do that. Personally, I kind of dig using this up the surface tool. And there we go. So last step here, we're going to go ahead and mirror this across the right plane. Again, that's one of the powerful parts about starting on the origin, is you can make this kind of stuff nice and easy. So in order to do that, under our Features tab, grab your mirror tool and highlight, Features to mirror, highlight the whole thing, and mirror plane is going to be the right plane. You'll see I have a partial preview. I would recommend not doing a full preview for this one, unless you have a pretty beefy computer, because sometimes previews can crash your program. If you haven't saved it, I would recommend on more complicated stuff, just try to do the partial preview. And click OK. And there it is. There is our grill grate.